For many church folks, Trump's SA convictions were not a deal breaker because they also have predators in their pulpits or families that they have not and will not speak out against. Part of the reason why is that when you are in a religious organization, you are taught to protect the organization over protecting people. So think about it. And this goes across denominations. This is in the Catholic Church, the Black Baptist Church, the Southern Baptist Church, Evangelical, Seventh-day Adventist. Anywhere there's an accusation, it's usually handled in this manner. Usually they want to get ahead of it. So you'll hear the pastor talk about how the enemy is attacking them, either themselves personally or somebody on their board, like of deacons or trustees, maybe the youth pastor. And they'll say that the enemy is attacking them, and you've got somebody who is going to give false accusations, but just don't believe what you hear because they're coming against the work of the Lord. They're coming against the church. So when you hear that in advance, when the actual accusations come out, you just block them out. Like, you literally don't even investigate them because you trust your pastor. So if your pastor has said, hey, somebody's trying to come against us, then you don't investigate it. And you immediately think that that person is a liar, it's a money grab, or they have an axe to grind. This is not just a religious issue. Think about your families, right? Some of y'all have predators in your families that you deal with, but what do? You tell the women, you tell the young women not to walk around in short shorts, cover yourself up, or you don't let your children be anywhere near the person in question. Why not just stop inviting them to dinner? Why not call them out instead of having this open secret where you are continuing to put yourself and your children at risk? You're also teaching them that their feelings of discomfort around predators are not to be believed. You're teaching them to ignore those feelings because it's family, right? It's family forever, family over everything, right? Wrong. Same goes for your church leaders, right? A lot of people will say, oh, but he's a man of God, but God uses them so mightily. I mean, there are so many SA stories in the Bible, like, it's bananas. And that's also a reason why church folks don't tend to take SA allegations as seriously as they need to. Because all throughout the Bible, if you actually read it, you will be shocked by some of the stories of SA that they don't talk about from the pulpit. They're just hoping that you won't actually read the Bible. Like, it's really messed up. And so many people don't realize some of the crazy group SA stories that are in the actual Bible. It's racy, and it's like there should be a trigger warning for some of these stories. Seriously, when you have someone who's even convicted of SA crimes, as that man is, there's a sort of cognitive dissonance that happens when people hear that. So they say, oh, the jury is just against him. Oh, the system is rigged against him. Oh, these are just women that want money. And it's not that at all. But it's a knee-jerk reaction from the way we have been conditioned to view people in power. I mean, he was literally caught on video saying that he enjoys essaying women and walking into dressing rooms where women are completely naked, but because he was in charge of the Miss Universe organization, he could do what he wanted to, right? And that wasn't enough of a deal breaker for him to get elected the first time. Anyone who voted for Trump, once or twice, I'm giving you side eye, because SA against women was not a deal breaker for you. And some of you are women. Like, we also need to talk about that, because it's almost as if you're setting yourself up to blame yourself if something like that happens to you. We have these ideas about what goes into SA, and we try to blame the victim so that we don't have to deal with the harsh truth that maybe somebody we love or look up to, admire, or vote for is capable of that type of harm, of that type of criminal behavior. So what do? They just put it out of their minds. They tell themselves this story that everybody's lying, that this many women who accuse that man must be lying. It's denial. It's huge denial. Not to mention the Republicans. I mean, and like I said in my last video, they were fine having somebody that they knew had so many accusations of sexual misconduct against them, because they're either doing the same thing or they're fine with it as long as it doesn't affect them. These are not new accusations. But all of a sudden, because this man was put up for nomination for an office that might affect your life, now all of a sudden you have a problem with it. All of these eyewitnesses, y'all sat next to that dude. Y'all worked with that dude in Congress to protect your political party. And I think that's why they go so hard against liberals for anything that involves sex. because there are so many predators in their own party that they're covering up for. So they're assuming that everybody is like that. So if they can divert your attention to trans people using the bathroom, they can get you to forget that trans people literally just want to go to the bathroom. The actual predators are some of the people pushing for these laws, for these discriminatory laws that distract us from who the real dangerous people are. Because if you're looking at the LGBTQIA plus community, then we don't have to look at the actual men in Congress that are engaging in this behavior. If we put the focus on poor Black and brown women who are getting abortions, or make it seem like it's something irresponsible that young women are doing because they just don't want to be moms, then we won't look at the fact that they are the ones who are having their mistresses get abortions. We won't pay attention to that because we're going to be too busy fighting amongst ourselves. It's not even infuriating at this point. It's like we need to start looking at the patterns. Every accusation is a confession. I wish I could remember who said that first because it's so true. Every accusation is a confession. They're talking about indoctrinating children, right? They're talking about certain books about Black people, about brown people, about same-sex families. They're saying that that's indoctrinating young kids and that they're dangerous. When meanwhile, you want to have the Bible being taught in schools, like you want to have the 10 Commandments listed publicly. So we're not going to care about our Jewish and our Hindu and our Muslim and our atheist and our Baha'i students. We're not going to think about that because we're going to force our Christian beliefs on everybody else because we are doing the indoctrinating. You see how they distract so that we don't pay attention to the fact that they are playing in our faces? Like, y'all, it's like how they during the Reagan era, the welfare queen, right? So we would not realize that the people who benefit from welfare the most are poor white people, not Black people. Poor white people really benefit from welfare. Not to mention affirmative action. What did they do? They put out stories that would make you believe that it's unqualified Black people taking all the jobs. They're the only ones that benefit from this unfair policy when really white women benefit. White women benefited highly under affirmative action. But they didn't want y'all to know that. They didn't want us to know that. They wanted us to start looking in the opposite direction, looking at somebody else to blame, when really that policy was benefiting so many other people. So many other people. So yeah, I think we should pay attention to what they're doing instead of like I really can't be surprised by anything they do anymore. Like they've sunk into the lowest of the low. We've elected a convicted criminal back to the presidency, apparently. Because yeah, I'm still feeling like it's not over. I don't think it's over. But I digress. Sleight of hand. If they can distract us and have us fight each other, we're not going to pay attention to how they are playing in our faces. We need to stop being surprised by them doing their crazy things they do and start actually paying attention. Yes, we were surprised that first day of Trump nominating all of these unqualified people, but why are we surprised? He's unqualified. Like he's in the entertainment industry and he's in real estate. So of course he's going to hire other people that aren't typical politicians. Like, of course, when I saw that he is appointing Dr. Oz to a position, I'm like, of course he is. So let's save our energy and our outrage and let's start paying attention to the patterns. Let's start connecting the dots to see, okay, what are they distracting us from seeing? What are they trying to keep us from understanding? What are they accusing us of vehemently so that we don't recognize what they're doing? Because remember, every accusation is a confession. And I bet that there are so many more abortions happening at the behest of our politicians than the people that they're pinning it on. They are playing in our faces. We don't have to let it happen. We can use our voices, but we have to be paying attention instead of allowing ourselves to get caught in the doom and gloom and feeling helpless. We're feeling powerless right now. I understand that, but we're not powerless. So start keeping track of all of the patterns you're seeing. Just start reading between the lines. Start looking at the stories that are not front page news, because that's where they hide what's really going on. Okay, that's all for tonight. More soon.